On the ballot spoke to me. I really did like the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. Think that's great. I'm literally kind of looking at that wondering, did they just say racial equity inclusion just so that it wasn't the exact DEI language that Trump would kick their asses for?
Just the state of community.
We have to do everything we can to stop Trump. That's the truth. It just scares me.
And
I have faith in the American people.
do you think there's anything that the American people can do and that people can do in their local communities to bolster involvement in local government to get people more willing to get out there and vote?
Every time we have an opportunity, we need to protest, we need to vote, we need to go to City Hall, we need to support the people who need help. Write your congressmen, your senators. I've done all that, and the president.
I always try to vote in every election we have locally and nationally, and I work for the state, so I feel like it's important to get out and to be voting, especially on town meeting day. It's really special in Vermont.
Also, AFC should be on the ballot. This is another thing, apartheid-free communities. People probably mentioned that they should have. Again, people are going to be like, oh, it's such a contentious issue, when no, it's been pretty widely supported by a lot of voters. It's only the Dems who keep killing it from ending up on the ballot for bullshit reasons.
I'm Ryan Nick, running for Ward 8 City Council. Expanding upon the great work that Neighborhood Code has done and really unlocking the full potential of it through permit reform and reform of inclusionary zoning. And, we just need to figure out how to make it easier to build housing in the city.
Ward 8 City Councilor Merrick Broderick. Job's not finished, the work isn't finished, specifically around housing and affordability for people on and off our college campuses. I think I've been able to accomplish some very important things in regards to ensuring tenants are living in safe and habitable housing, specifically on the UVM campus, and that process is currently ongoing.
Hello there. Good evening, and thank you so much for tuning into Town Meeting TV, and happy Town Meeting Day. My name's Bobby Lucier, and I'm joined by Debbie Ingram here, and we are here to unpack the results of today's election. This is a preview show for the election results show that will start at 7 o'clock, so you still have time to vote. The polls close at 7 p.m., so get out there and vote if you have not yet. But once you do, you can head over to Town Meeting TV, where Debbie and I, as well as an incredible team of folks behind the scenes here, are working to put together an incredible program to deliver and explain the election results from today's election. We are covering the city of Burlington, as well as South Burlington, Colchester, Essex, Winooski, and Williston. We'll have results from the city council races, select board races, as well as the ballot questions, and very importantly, Debbie, the school budgets.
That's right.
So, Debbie, what are the big elections that we're looking at tonight?
So the three most interesting municipalities that we'll be focusing on are Burlington, South Burlington, and Essex, because they all have contested seats for their legislative governing bodies, and they also have some interesting things going on in their budgets. Burlington, for instance, has a police and fire tax. South Burlington has something interesting going on with their school district budget, and Essex is looking to establish a municipal complex. So those three are particularly of interest, but our other three, Williston, Winooski, and Colchester, are interesting mostly because of money, because of their budgets, and because of bond votes. Williston has a big bond vote for a library. Colchester is kind of skittish about its school budget, and Winooski has some additions they want to do to their city hall. So we'll be looking at all six of those altogether.
Affordability certainly top of mind for a lot of voters. It seems like it's the top issue across any party in this election season. Thanks so much, Debbie. We will be digging into those results later tonight. We want to thank our underwriting partners here at Town Meeting TV. Thank you so much to these incredible small businesses who have pledged their support to make this program happen. And aside from a brief shout out to these folks here, you'll notice that our coverage of tonight's election is free from commercials and is non-commercial independent media, and it is powered by you as well. So feel free to make a contribution tonight at cctv.org to support this really important work. And thank you for tuning in to Local Democracy. We also have standing by our friend Travis Washington, who is in Studio B and will be chatting with folks that were on the ballot today, And Travis, what might we expect to hear from over in Studio B tonight?
Wonderful. Thank you, Bobby and Debbie, of course. Thank you for being here. Tonight, I'll be here interviewing city council candidates from Burlington, South Burlington, also a whole bunch of school board members. We also have a team out in Winooski who is potentially interviewing Winooski city councilors and school board members as well. So back to you in Studio A, Bobby and Debbie.
Thanks so much, Travis. Looking forward to hearing from the folks that you voted on today. They will be here in studio. We're going to hear from the mayor of Burlington just a little bit after 7 o'clock. So tune back in then. So speaking of Burlington, Debbie, there's a lot on the ballot in Burlington. There's not a ton as far as contested races, but we have a couple ballot questions. What's going on in Burlington today?
Well, there aren't a ton of contested races, but the two that are being fought out are very important for the balance of power between the Democrats and the progressives in Burlington. So we'll be looking at Ward 7 and Ward 8. In Ward 7, there's currently a Democrat, Evan Litwin, but he is being challenged by Bill Standen, a progressive. And in Ward 8, Merrick Broderick, the progressive, is the incumbent, and he's being challenged by Ryan Nick. And we've also heard rumors that there's a write-in candidate that's launching a big campaign there too, so that could shake things up as well. So what will happen, Bobby, is very interesting. Right now the balance of power is 7 seats for the Democrats and 5 for the progressives. So the Democrats need to hold their seat in Ward 7. And if they pick up the seat in Ward 8, then they will have an 8-5 majority, which means that they can actually override vetoes by the mayor. Now, if it goes the other way, and in Ward 7, the progressives take over, and if they keep their Ward 8 seat, then they will bring it level. So it'll be 6-6. So it's very, very interesting mix going on there.
Interesting that, yeah, it's just a couple of contested races, but the balance of power on the city council could swing in a very significant way tonight, especially if we do see Democrats taking control of that veto-proof majority, block the mayor's administration and some of the work that they're looking to accomplish. We also see on the ballot, Debbie, did you have anything to add about Burlington there?
Well, yeah, I just would also mention that there is, in Ward 3, there'll be a new face because Joe Kane, progressive, who would have been the incumbent, is not running again, and so Laura Sanchez Parkinson is the progressive. The Democrats are not running again in Ward 3. So that'll be interesting. And then also, as you mentioned, the budget is, it's actually lower. It's almost $2 million lower than it was last year, and which they've achieved by eliminating 25 positions. So that'll be some interesting, footage to see what's going on there.
Is that the city budget? Or
That's the city budget.
Okay, but the city budget in Burlington is not voted on by the voters, is it?
I believe, well, that's an interesting question. We'll get back to you on that.
Back to you at 7 o'clock on that one.
Yes, indeed, we'll know about that at 7.
Yes, but then also there are some other
budget. The school budget for sure, yes, we are worried about. Yes, so the school budget is showing a 4.47% increase. And there's also a decline in enrollments, which is interesting. So it's made for some interesting machinations on the part of the school board and the staff, and they're really counting very heavily on the governor's buy-down program, his proposal for property taxes. But that remains to be seen whether that is going to actually provide people with property tax relief.
Yes, we will be keeping a close eye on those school districts and whether they're talking about a budget and the tax impact before the governor's buy down or presuming that the governor will in fact kick in. It looks like maybe about $75 million in some projections to lower the tax impact of some of these big school budget increases across the state and in Burlington and South Burlington and the other districts that we're covering tonight as well. Also on the ballot in Burlington today was a charter change to establish the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging to be a permanent office in the city of Burlington, Debbie.
Yes, that's right. That is a charter item. it's been very interesting about charter changes in Burlington. There've been several over the last few years. I think 9 altogether, and only 5 of them, are still waiting because in Vermont, with our system, the state legislature actually has to approve charter changes. It's not just up to the city. And this can be frustrating to some municipal leaders. And having served in the legislature myself, I know that the legislature takes their role of oversight and having to approve these changes very seriously, and they are sometimes really reluctant to let them be changed. So it'll be interesting. This might be just another thing on the list that the legislature sort of ignores, but it's, in the meantime, it is presented to voters.
Right. So voters weighed in on that today. We'll have results on the REIB charter change for you at 7 o'clock here on Town Meeting TV. Town Meeting TV intern Megan White created a little clip to dive a little bit deeper into that question and that office, and we'll hear a little bit about that right now.
On this year's ballot, one of the 4 questions Burlington residents will vote on is a charter change that would permanently establish the Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Office.
And so what we're really looking to do is make sure that it doesn't matter who the mayor is, who the governor is, who the president is, we are codifying that decades-long standing commitment to this work.
We've done a lot of work over this last year of getting clear on REIB's purpose so we could be ready for this charter change to voters.
The department has been actively working to strengthen racial equity and inclusion in Burlington city government and policies for several years.
This work is not new, right? Currently, between 2020 and 2025, it has been operationalized as REIB, but Burlington has a well-documented history of having and moving forward diversity, equity, inclusion work, particularly in the city government. So I think when we're dealing with really tight budgets and having to think about what services are critical and core to really the city, to our residents, REIB really helps us, and DEI work in general helps us to think about these changes with more clarity, more coordination, and just increased care across the full entities of government.
And finally, as Kelly was saying, I want to make sure that not only our workforce reflects all the beautiful faces and diverse faces and abilities and economic statuses here in Burlington, but that everyone who is an elected leader, that our boards and commissions, that also truly reflects the true diversity of our community, because that's true democracy at the end.
The proposed item was unanimously approved by City Council members to be placed on the 2026 city election ballot.
We will have the results of that REIB charter change in Burlington on Town Meeting TV tonight at 7 o'clock. This is, of course, the preview show. We're just giving a little bit of an overview of what you can expect on our election results show tonight at 7 o'clock. My name is Bobby Lucia, and I'm joined by Debbie Ingram here. We are, you can head over to results.townmeeting.tv for real-time results for all these elections that we are talking about tonight. You'll see at that website you can watch, you can tune in to our program, and at the same time you can also toggle between the different communities that we are covering, and you will see in real time the vote tallies as we have them come in. So in Burlington, we'll be able to tell you who has won the elections in Ward 7 and Ward 8 City Council, as well as that tax increase. And as we mentioned, we're also covering Essex, South Burlington, Williston, Winooski, and Colchester. South Burlington is an interesting one, Debbie. It looks like we've got the school budget, but also a contested city council race.
That's right. Yes. The city council races between 2 relative newcomers, Beth Zygmunt and
Amy Allen.
Amy Allen. Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah, and so Beth has served on the Energy Committee in South Burlington, and her, I believe, a family member is on the Planning Commission, and she has been endorsed by some heavy hitters in South Burlington, including former city councilors Helen Reilly. Amy is a consultant, a former consultant in international development, and she doesn't really have political experience, but she's caught the eye of some other South Burlington leaders. So, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yes, and then of course we're also looking at the school budget in South Burlington, which passed very narrowly last year and did not pass a couple years ago.
That's right, yes, and it was barely, the budget this year was barely approved by the board. It's a $73.9 million budget, which is a small increase. And the chair of the school board actually voted against it. It only passed on a 4-3 vote. And they actually asked the staff to go ahead and prepare a level funded budget to have it sort of waiting in the wings in case this one doesn't pass. That one would be much more draconian, though, and would let go of some educators and really create a problem for art, music, and science classes. So we'll see how voters feel about the current budget, which also cuts some personnel, cuts nurses mostly, and comms and tech people, but not classroom educators.
Right, so a lot at stake either way in the South Burlington School District. We had a team of folks out in South Burlington today to speak with voters, and we will hear from them now.
Why do you think that voting is important?
Voting is the cornerstone of our democracy. It's a right that somebody receives when they're eligible to vote, and everybody needs to exercise that right to participate in their democracy. We are very lucky at this time to have that right and that privilege. And if it goes unused, it's a waste. So please don't waste your vote, because it can count, and we have seen that in the past, that votes do count in very close elections.
Are there any issues that you think are like particularly important in South Burlington?
I mean, I think there's some that are important everywhere. So cost of living is on everyone's mind. So I think trying to balance what we're asking from people from revenue with what they want to accomplish in their life in other areas is important.
And why do you think it is prudent to increase the spending in order to improve the fire department and the schools?
Right now, as I understand it, South Burlington's actually in very good shape cash-wise. We've done very well with the 1% sales tax, better than most communities in the state. So that's put us in a cash positive place, and I think it's probably a good time to be investing in our assets.
People think that the school budget tax is too much for how well our schools are performing. I've heard from a few different people that for how much citizens and residents are being taxed for the projected school board spending, it is not aligned with how well the results of the local schools here are. And people are upset by that. But at the same time, they're educators and people who are former educators are like, no, this increased spending is how we fix this by not so very, very mixed opinions about that.
The democracy, the society depends on participation, and voting isn't the only answer, but it's one.
And I appreciate so much the people who are running for office, because it's a why do people want to do this? It takes so much time and effort. And then, I'm just really, really in favor of supporting people who are interested in supporting our community.
And what would you say to people that haven't come to vote, or maybe haven't ever voted, and who don't feel like their vote matters?
It may feel that way sometimes, but it's still your right and your responsibility as a citizen to vote, to register, and to know what's going on in your community or your country.
I hope someone coming and change and improve, because Vermont is a good state. This can be better, but don't vote again and again for 35 years or so, the same people. Give a chance to new people to demonstrate their ability. Send old after 65 years, old people send home, put the young one. Give them a chance to raise and grow and change something.
thanks again to our teams, our Exit Voices teams who were out at the polls today to hear from voters about why they voted, what brought them out to the polls. There's a lot to bring people out to the polls today, Debbie. And we have coverage in South Burlington as well as Essex, Winooski, and Colchester. Let's talk a little bit about what was on the ballot in Essex.
Yes, so there are contested races there for their select board. There are 3 people running for 2 slots. Andy Watts is a longtime incumbent. He's running for his 5th term. But also running for at least another slot is Ken Signorello, who runs the Essex Reporter. Is an interesting retorter. I beg your pardon. Yep. The Essex Retorter. Yes. Very clever, clever name, and he led the charge to try to change the Development Review Board, which we can talk about later. It's a ballot item, and then the third person is Meg Zimmerman, who works in human resources, and then and the other slot is being challenged by 2 people, Ethan Lawrence, who actually has been on the select board, but is running for a different seat. And he is facing Noah Detzer, who has been doing communications for the Department of Health.
Okay, so that's Essex, and then do we have ballot questions in Essex as well?
We do. Let's see. We have a ballot question to approve the design stage of 8090 Upper Main Street. It's used for a municipal complex and town center. So this is just the design stage. They would only spend $2 million to look at it. It's not approving anything yet, but it's kind of an important first step. And then the DRB thing that I mentioned is quite interesting. Right now they have 7 members of the DRB, the Development Review Board, which is kind of a quasi-judicial body that reviews new construction proposals, compares it to the regulations that the Planning Commission comes up with, and so there is overlap. There are people who are both on the Planning Commission and the DRB, which is a little bit of a conflict of interest, maybe giving people a little too much power. So that'll be an interesting thing to see if people really understand the nuance of that and vote and see how they vote.
Right, and interesting too. You would think that the Essex Development Review Board might not be a glamorous hotspot for state politics, but the DRB has seen some pretty big projects and has made some pretty important rulings, and may have to make some more really important rulings coming up here.
That's right. The Amazon facility, for instance, was the kibosh was put on it by the Development Review Board. So yeah, that was a big big thing. And then the prison proposal was actually kind of killed because of the Planning Commission. So the two bodies together do make a lot of really important decisions.
Right. So that's Essex. We also have in Winooski a relatively new mayor on the ballot.
That's right. There's a lot of sort of turnover, weird turnover in Winooski. That's right. Thomas Renner was appointed to be the interim when Christine Lott left as mayor. Then he ran for lieutenant governor. Now he's running for the year remaining in that term. We have Eli Ogilvie running for uncontested, but for the slot that was left by Aurora Hurd, who is not running. And then we have Elise Goodrich, who is running uncontested to...
Elsie Goodrich.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
I
Elise...
always flip those two as well.
Oh, it's Elsie, yes. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. So Elsie Goodrich is running... she replaced Renner on the council when he became mayor. And then we have Al Turcos, uncontested, who replaced Charles Judge when he left.
Okay, a lot of turnover in Winooski.
Yes.
We had folks, of course, in Winooski out this morning to talk with voters as well as the other municipalities that we are covering tonight. And we're going to pass it over to our friend Travis Washington, who is in Studio B to speak with Emily Brewer as well as MJ Rizzo. Yes, MJ Rizzo, who were out on the beat this morning. Travis.
Wonderful. Yes, I'm here with MJ and Emily. So, Exit Voices, you are 2 Exit Voice team leads. MJ, this is your second time doing Exit Voices. How was it this time around?
I had a wonderful time, honestly. I was lucky enough to cover Burlington wards 1, 4, 7, and 8, as I'm sure you know. Ward 8 was super contested, but we saw a lot of student voter turnout. It was really nice to see as a young person, all that engagement and being the person to amplify their voices too. It was just really a nice thing to see.
And Emily, this is your several times in doing this thing. How was it today?
Sure. Yeah, I've lost count of how many exit voices I've done at this point. Clearly, I really enjoy doing it. It was interesting today. We spoke with a lot of different voters. We spoke with almost all of the candidates in Winooski and Essex. One of the we spoke with a young person in Winooski who actually told us that they tuned in to our forum coverage that morning before they came out to vote. So that was really great to hear. And we also ran into a couple of people that are new to the area and trying to get more involved in the community, involved in local politics. And it was really wonderful to see them getting out, voting locally. I mean, the local elections around here, the voter turnout is not very high. So we were talking to a few of the select board members in Essex about that. But there was a huge absentee voter turnout this year. It probably surpassed 500 after we left in Essex, which is about half of all voters that come out to vote in local elections. So it was an interesting kind of shift there. The moderator said that's a little more than normal. So that was interesting, but it was very cold, but we pushed through it, and it's always worth it. It's always a great part to, a great way to start election day. Yeah.
Yes, and to believe it or not, today was warmer than than years in the past. How did this experience briefly differ from previous times that you've done it? Was there any changes? Did you feel more confident, etc.? MJ, I'm gonna start with you.
I was going to say, yeah, definitely a big difference from last time, being a team lead now. Getting to, know our interns a little bit more, the people that are like coming into our studio to help us. It's just really wonderful to see how talented they are and how helpful they are always, and how engaged they are with the community and how willing they are to just walk up to a stranger and ask them questions about what's on the ballot, about who's running, and just seeing them be so willing to do that with so much passion is so wonderful.
Okay, in a couple sentences, Emily.
It's always nice to go out with a team of 4. Because I can kind of step back and see everybody shine. Went out with 2 other folks that had never done exit voices before. They were so confident. They did such a great job. Literal naturals. So it was amazing to see them step outside of their comfort zone to do that. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you both for this morning. And I know we have a lot of work to do for tonight's show, but thank you all for being here. And I'm going to toss it back to Studio A, Bobby and Debbie. What else do we got?
Amazing. Thank you so much, Travis. Thank you to Emily and MJ and all of the folks who were out at the polls this morning. It's really incredible. It takes a village, takes a few villages, honestly, Debbie, to pull this together. And we are so grateful. It's a lot of volunteer power and a lot of pure love for democracy here at Town Meeting TV. So thanks so much to those teams. Let's take a look at Williston, Debbie. What was on the ballot in Williston?
The most interesting thing on the ballot in Williston is a bond vote because the select board races are uncontested. So the library has been very well utilized in Williston, and it's not expanded for 30 years. And also the population of Williston has grown by 50% in that time. So the town took a long time, a lot of community involvement, looking at what could be done to improve not just the library, but also the whole Village Green area. And the bond is for $13.9 million to start that project.
Yeah, that's a big bond. It's a big ticket item for Williston. We were able to pop into a forum in Williston about the construction of this library and this bond vote, and we'll see that now.
We knew the library was bursting at the seams and we needed to think about space needs for the library. We also exploring the concept of a community center, a community recreation center and other gathering spaces in town. So out of that effort, we formed a steering committee. We brought in Black River Design and their professional architecture team to help guide this effort.
And I think the number one need that was expressed was we don't have enough space. So that capacity, since the last edition was put on, Williston's population has grown 50%. Usage of the library has grown by 92%. We actually have the most programs of any library of our size across the state of Vermont. We have the second most circulation, but when you look at our peer libraries, we're 8 out of 10 in terms of the amount of space we have. So every time we add a book to the collection, we have to take a book out. We also don't have space for the meetings that people want to have. We're really bursting at the seams. So that capacity was the first thing. We've seen a library addition or expansion here in Williston about every 20 to 25 years, and we're going on almost 30 years now. So more space, but then also space that's more appropriate for how people use the library today. So it's not just a place for collections.
In general, as we looked at how to renovate this building, we wanted to try to keep as many of the existing functions that we could in place, because that keeps the costs down as well. So what we've got here, where the existing circulation desk is going to be a secondary office space on this side of the library to help, as a guidepost or a place where staff can be useful to patrons. The new Create space is going to be right here on this portion of the building. That will be front and center, close to the windows, something that people can see. As you can see, as you look around here, there is a lot of display space in this library. And for those of us who have lived here for a while, we know that this is an extremely nice feature of the library. For one thing, every year in May, there's the school art classes all get to display stuff. So almost every student in Williston has had something on display in this library over the years. To our right here is the access to the courtyard. With the new addition, you will not see the school opposite there, and this will be a fully enclosed courtyard. But it will maintain pretty much exactly its current shape. This will be the wiggle room over here, and here's the pre-readers area here right now are in this space, and the children's area is over beyond the display case here. That will remain the children's area, so that we are again trying to minimize the renovations that are having to happen here. So from this view, just in front of the existing front door, you'll be able to look towards the school through some open plaza areas for some outdoor spaces for outdoor activities. And you'll be able to see then the end of the community room spaces, which are going to be straight in front of us, and in a spot where it's very convenient to the parking, and also arranged such that you can use that while the library is closed. So that that will become a very, very frequently used space, I believe.
That was a peek at the Williston Library construction on the ballot today. And that just about does it for our preview show of the Town Meeting TV election results show. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm looking forward to coming back here at 7 o'clock. You still have time to go vote. The polls close at 7 o'clock, so you have about an hour left to get out and cast your ballot today. And then as soon as the polls close, come back over to Town Meeting TV, or you can head over to results.townmeeting.tv and tune in to our election results program. We will have the results of the city council races, the select boards, the libraries, the school budgets, and so much more here at Town Meeting TV. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for hearing about democracy. See you next time.
All right, great.